Welcome to Cars and Health Bars. As you can see us, which is kind of different. So you knew this was going to come. This is our 4th of July special, and let's get right into it, Jordan.
Yeah.
They can see us for once.
Yeah, hey to anyone, this is what I look like. Try not to make fun of me too much.
You would have already seen us if you had watched the Automotive ADHD show. If you didn't, you definitely need to go check it out because it's probably the last time we're going to plug it. Slowly becoming old news. But with that being said, we hinted towards it in the last episode that we were going to do, cop stories.
Yeah.
And, of course, you've put me in some pretty cool mechanic groups on Facebook. So I got on, I'm like, you know what? If we're not allowed to do this, just by all means tell me. But they didn't, and we had the biggest turnout ever. We had so many cop stories that we want to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you've saved up for me.
Oh man, it's taken so much for me not to go ahead and tell you a few of these because some of them are great. And I'm going to try to read as many as I can. If I missed them and you were watching or commenting, I'm sorry. I tried to get all of them. There's like 160 comments. So this is more of a basic one, but you can't leave it out.
Nah.
I'm obviously not going to say their names, and if they say anything too personal, such as stuff about the area, I'm obviously going to leave that out. But we have a man back in 2012 driving a basic white 93 Dodge Dakota, two-wheel drive. Gotta put that in there. Had my little girlfriend in the middle seat, just cruising down, on a misty, rainy day. Approach a red light on the crest of a hill. No biggie. So I thought. My right foot turned into a cinder block, and I spun the tires until I was sideways in the intersection. State rod pulled me over.
Oh no.
Put me in cuffs and in the car for a chat. Asked me why I had behaved so foolishly. I told him I lost control. Nah, I did that on purpose. My girlfriend loved it. He slapped me with a $200 ticket for careless and
Reckless?
we'll say that. Impudent, I think is but ticket.
Oh.
Paid it in $2 bills just because. Love that. And I had to get this in a screenshot too. The guy said most cop stories now involve the cop showing up and tell the person to get out of the car. It's the bank's property and not yours.
Yeah.
Not wrong there.
Can't say that to me. Paid off.
Yeah. I thought this was a good one. Got pulled over in this jalopy, I guess that's
Jalopy?
Jalopy, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the cops...
Piece of shit.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what it means. Piece of shit.
The cops reported they saw a red car going 85 and a 55, but the cop that pulled me over only seen the back of me whenever he walked up with a 350 or 305. Hold up. I read that wrong. The cop pulled me over, seen the back. He walked up and said, is that a 350 or a 305 softly? I said, it's a 305. He said, oh, I know for sure I wasn't doing 85 in a 55. He said, I'm sorry, have a good day.
That thing can't even get up to 85.
No, 305, buddy. That thing
choked out.
Oh, yeah.
8.1 compression bowl.
Nothing crazy, but a few years ago, I had a cop pull me over for a 90 plus and a 65 right in front of a CHP station. A week later, cop caught me doing 30 plus a mile away. I'm doing 115 on an empty desert road. I spot a cop ahead, pulling me to the side of the road. I mashed the brakes. Lo and behold, same cop. Clocked me 87 and a 65. He was still pretty cool, but he knocked my ticket down to a 70 and a 65. I want to take this as an opportunity to say that's what happens when you slow down and pull over. Typically, the cops are somewhat cool, within reason. Like, if you make him chase you or...
Yeah, they're not going to be happy.
Another thing, too, cops get pretty mad if you don't, put them in a safe situation.
Yeah,
if you just pull over on the interstate, I got pulled over not too long ago, or probably 3 years ago, but I was like, okay, I'm putting my blinkers on to let him know, hey, I am going to pull over. I get a little bit down the road, and I actually pull off in a cemetery, and he's like, thank you for putting me in a good spot. He just gave me a warning.
No, they're definitely cool about that because no one wants to be on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Their main job is to protect and sir.
It might just be me, but I feel like these ACAP guys, dude, they just had like the worst experience.
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't think all cops are bad.
I mean, they do this for a living. It's their job. You know, they're not trying to be like this to you on purpose. They don't hate you, you know.
Nah, they're just, I mean, you can imagine going in early one day and being mad or something.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone gets mad at their job.
You know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to tell one of my cop stories. That first time I got pulled over doing terrible well, it's not the first time I got pulled over, but I was in my black truck, if you remember that. 03 Ram 1500 is whenever I first got it. So it didn't have a lift, didn't have its wheels, didn't have its tires. It was just stock. And man, I thought that thing was so fast. Having a Hemi, I'm like, man, this is what them Chargers and Challengers got in it. So I raced it a little bit whenever I first got it. And there was, we were leaving Glasgow. Okay, I'll just go and say, we were leaving Glasgow, passing, we just passed Trojan Trail. We were headed, up that hill. Well, I didn't know there was a cop sitting there at Trojan Trail. We were actually racing, and I was beating him, and I seen blue lights. I'm like, all right, whatever. He's gonna chase that guy because I'm ahead.
Yeah.
And I look, and that guy got on the on ramp to go to Cumberland Parkway, and I got stuck with him. Got me going 89 in a 45.
Jeez.
Going through an intersection too, so he got me for reckless driving. I had to go to court.
Your license for that.
Yeah, I had to go to court. He was so mad, dude. He's like, I was 17, he would have got me in jail. But he's like, if you were 18, I'd throw you in jail. You'd never see the light of day again. I'm like, dude.
I don't think he mean that.
I was literally like crying because I was a kid, and I'm like, dude, my parents are gonna ground me for eternity. Like, I was done with, dude. I don't know if you had any good cop stories. I mean,
I got a few. Have I told any before?
I mean,
feel like...
a new clip.
So, all right, I'll tell this one. It was me, Tyler, and his Mustang, Ashton and his S550 Mustang, Kyle and his S197 Mustang 3-valve, and then Clay and his Charger, Hemi, ex-cop car, bone stock. Me and my car, I don't even think my car was cammed at the time, and we were all at Sherwood Guns. We were just passing it. We was turning there. Everyone got sideways but me. I didn't get sideways at all. I was straight air. I was like driving normal. Tyler was behind me sideways when he blue lights. He passes Tyler, gets me, and then Tyler tried to block him, but he passed Tyler. Tyler's literally in the middle of the road, like swerving, trying to block him, and he passes Tyler to get me. So then he pulls me over, and he is just livid, man. He's like, man, I'm going to make an example out of you. Like, I was like, I haven't done nothing. I was like, okay. I said, sorry, officer. I know my friends are reckless, but he's like, nah. And he got me for reckless driving, my plate frame, and not up-to-date insurance card on me. I had the up-to-date insurance, just not on me. So, lo and behold, I get this fucking reckless driving ticket, and that made me so mad. That is what set me off against BGPD. And then after the traffic stop, we were all meeting at the bowling alley there. So all my friends are in the back of that cop car, and you can't get out from the back because there's no door handles. It's an ex-cop car.
Yeah.
So he's like, get out. He's yelling at him, and they can't get out.
Wow.
He got mad. He's like, all y'all's cars are illegal. I could get them all impounded.
Dude. See, that's the worst. See, that I will talk bad about cops in that respect. It's like, we're just kids, dude. Like,
minor traffic stop,
Yeah, and like, we're just kids. He's trying to ruin some kid's life.
And on the ticket, he wrote, on the road that I was on, he's like, children often play here. It was pitch black out, man. Ain't no kids going to be out playing.
That's like whenever you got pulled over on Trojan Trail after hours. Like,
I was not even doing nothing bad at all. I was literally just driving like I normally would.
Yeah. I mean, I got pulled over going through Austin Tracy here one night. Like, it was like nighttime at 11 o'clock, and he's like, you know this is a school zone, don't you? I'm like, what do you mean?
It don't count right now. What do you mean?
He's like, you need to thank me today, because I'm letting you off with a warning. I'm like, let me
Thank
dust my
you,
knees
officer,
off so I can get on the ground for you, buddy. Like,
lay out the red carpet.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, can I take a picture with you, officer? I want to frame this today. I will never want to forget this.
I'll never forget you. Thank you so much. Tell my kids.
Yeah. Well, let's get back into these actual Facebook cop stories. I'm just gonna read them off as they come. Years ago, when I had my first truck, a 95 5-speed Ranger. Oh God.
Yes, sir.
Me and my buddies were piled in raising Cain and praising Dale. he decided to get dumb and thought it would be a good idea to bounce off the limiter and clutch dump to do some slides. I didn't realize that there was a state highway patrol behind us. He passed us. He pulled us over. He was mad. He asked us if what we were doing. I said, "I'm sorry, my foot slipped." Needless to say, he gave me a ticket for reckless driving.
That's a good one. In
my
the
foot
Ranger,
slipped. Yeah.
Yeah, my foot slipped. It went off the clutch.
That's like the tale as old as time. My foot slipped. Like, ain't nobody believing that. He probably would have been better off just telling him the truth that he's just screwing around.
That's what's always worked best for me.
Yeah. A couple years back, I had a Prelude SI.
Okay.
And I wanted to see what it could do on the way back home from work. We've all been there.
I understand that.
I was on a 3-lane wide road, no traffic in front of me, only a few cars behind me, so I let her rip. Last I looked down, I was doing 135. Speed limit was 35.
35.
Going 100 over. And then I saw undercover with lights on behind me. He asked me what I was doing. I was completely honest and said, well, let's slow it down some and let me off with a verbal warning and never check my license or anything. Homie's going 100 over. Just told the cops the truth. You know, he was just
I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to respect you more if you're just honest.
I'm surprised he didn't give him a ticket for going.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, dude. But, you know, he got real lucky. Homie lucked out that day for sure.
The cop probably understood the story. You know, he's probably owned the car and been like, well, let's see what this baby can do.
I mean, that's the way anybody is, especially if first get their car. You gotta figure out what she can do.
Yeah, you got to know what you're working with there.
This guy sent me a DM, said, I saw your cop post. Me and a few of my friends were driving around after our high school years. I was in a Honda Fit Sport, and they were in a Hyundai Veloster. Over a few miles, 4 cops do a U-turn and pull us over because of a phone call says they reported street racing. I got pulled out of my car, patted down, half an hour ordeal, just to tell me I didn't see you guys doing anything and let us go with no ticket.
Wow, patted down out of the car.
I swear, that's like the dumbest thing ever. Like, why would you waste their time?
Well, I mean, if they were in a Honda Fit, this had to be a newer. So maybe it's like, I know sometimes when they pull people over now, they gotta take you out. Or like,
yeah, could be.
Sometimes if you're doing like reckless driving, they'll actually have officers with guns point at you while one goes up and does the
That's insane.
traffic stop. It's crazy.
This guy sent a few stories. He's an older guy. He's been running around for a while. I was trying to catch up to my roommate that had that was turned out of state or headed out of state. Plan was to ride with him and his girlfriend with me to drive my car back home for me. Okay. Beautiful, clear, sunny day, mid-morning, early summer, perfect driving conditions. We were driving 85 and a 50 on a sparsely populated paved road. I spot some headlights flashing in almost a quarter mile back. As I was approaching a T intersection, I needed to turn left at, thinking I didn't have time to stop for some chit chat. I do decide to sit at the stop sign and wait a few seconds to try and identify who it was so I could catch up and explain whenever I got back in town. Well, as I got closer, quickly, I then saw blue lights in the grill. I turned out really slow, didn't have time to get arrested. I hooked it right, headed back towards my road as I was feeding it again. Around 130, my girlfriend asked me what I was doing wrong. What I was doing going in the wrong direction. No problem. I'm kind of getting twisted around in this story. Okay, I'm just going to skip over that. He gets all... I can't understand that. Sorry to you if that's your story, but I'm having a little bit of a hard time understanding what you're saying. I want to find this really, really good one. Okay. This guy asked about the podcast, so I have to tell his story. A little bit longer one. A few years ago, I got my car, a 2011 WRX. Love that. After a full engine and trans build, yeah, it must have been the third engine. Pretty typical for a WRX. But hey, I'm young and I like turbo noises. My tuner told me that we need to do some WOT pulls for data logging. With this being my first time I've ever been over stock power, I wasn't so sure what to expect. My first mistake. While looking back, we're talking about full bolt-on 23 to 35 pounds of boost or psi, with all the supporting mods, stage 3, comp, twist, twin disc clutch. I did a pull out of my tuner's driveway because I wasn't going to pay attention to the dyno time and had to wait for it to be open. Second mistake, I was going to do the pull on an open road. I brake loose all of 4 times and a little longer than I should have corrected. Jesus, I'm having a hard time reading this. I brake all 4 loose and take it a little longer than I should have. So he gets pulled over. He tries to talk his way out of the ticket for exhibition of speed. So I get into a country road, flat, straight, about 3 to 4 mile stretch. I start doing pulls, going through the gears. Tuner says, make sure you hit the rev limiter in third. That's the closest 1-to-1.
Yeah.
As I'm doing the pull, I see a set of headlights, thinking no problem. I've got plenty of room. Third mistake. Come to find out, third is doing about 130, and those headlights were state trooper.
Sheesh.
Let me see where I'm at here.
I like a WRX. You know, I can't hate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
2011. That's after Hawkeye, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy had a full built Hawkeye, and I love that car.
Oh, who you talking about?
Nolan.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we found out the headlights are state trooper. Blues get hit, and being responsible, I immediately pull over as fast as possible. I turn the car off. He's about a quarter mile behind me or so. Jeez, that's pretty... He probably could have got out of there, SpongeBob, yeah.
I've done it from a quarter mile, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. By the time he catches up to me, it's just about... By the time he catches up, it's not just one car, it's 3 or 4 showing up later. He clocks me doing 134 and a 45.
Sheesh.
But it's his first words were, well, good thinking. You stopped because I stopped because I didn't want you to arrest me. After giving all my information, a little chit chat, the first officer comes back and says, "Well, I can't just leave you without anything." Understand that?
Yeah.
Ends up getting a 70 and a 45 and a tent ticket. That night, I decided, car or bike, I was always going to stop if I saw the blue lights.
Yeah.
And I appreciate He appreciated not putting their lives in risk or doing something stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of a long story, but man.
Good ending.
Yeah, good ending. Definitely, I appreciate getting a quarter mile ahead and still stopping. That is, I think he definitely could have made it out of there. But like I said, do not recommend trying to run from the police. No, by no means.
Never do it. You never win.
Make sure I'm still recording here. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Got busted for having my cell phone in 2003.
Having a cell phone?
Yeah. Oh, got busted. Yeah, that's what he said. Got busted for having a cell phone in 2003.
03. So that's back before iPhones.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Had to be home after attending church, but didn't have enough time to cover the distance. Skipped church. Still didn't have enough time. I was in a Taurus Speedo, his Taurus Speedo is maxed out against the column. Prior to testing, it was showing 100, and I topped it out at 125. So I was somewhere between 100 and 125. Passed a cop. Took a few seconds before the Speedo started bouncing. Then my dad's words echoed in my head. They already got your speed. Why make it easier for them? 2 miles later, found a semi-truck with a long line between him. Popped right behind him. The cop passed him 30 seconds with his lights off. Go home with 3 minutes to spare. Or got home with 3 minutes to spare. So
that's a good story right there.
Yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
It's pretty good.
Kudos to that man.
Kudos for sure. It's got another short story. Was driving home after a long day of debauchery and fun and driving. Cruising at 90 miles an hour in a 70, passed a cop and got popped, driving my buddy's car. Know how fast you were going? 80. Wrong. 90. License registration from you both. Turned to my buddy. Dude, you never told me your speedo was wrong. Which, I mean, you're already going 10 over anyways. I mean, I could have used that information. Buddy quizzly looks up and then shuts up. Coincidentally, sorry. 5 minutes later, dude said, dude, should I mention how I haven't gotten paid? I haven't paid my ticket in over 6 months ago.
Sheesh.
Being honest, being honest with the police, you have to be honest with the police. No STFU about anything. Here's your ticket, going 75 and a 70. Slow it down. I mean, I don't even know if I'd write the ticket at that point, but I guess. But he said he had to catch a break. They was letting him catch a break to avoid getting that other ticket brought up. I respect that.
Yep.
See, I want to find this. There was a freaking awesome one about. It was a really short one too. I'm like, man, this is a really short story, but it was a really, really good one. I can read this one real quick. It's kind of short. In the 70s, we were street racing. I know, stupid. The car we were racing blew through a red light and skidded halfway across the intersection. A cop right there didn't even red ball us when he pulled us over. After checking our IDs, he just I guess he meant like getting onto him.
Yeah.
After checking our ID, he just told us to slow it down and drink a little less.
I've been told that before. Not the drinking part, but
yeah, just slow it down. Oh, man. It's got to be one of the last ones submitted. It was a really... Oh, here it is. Okay. I saw this story. I'm like, man, this is just a short one. All the shorter ones didn't really go anywhere, but this one's great. So, led cops on a 58-mile high-speed chase in an S2000. Yup.
Sheesh. S2K is a good one to do it in. You got some handling there.
Yep. 5 counties closed with spike strips deployed, so they were trying to catch this dude. I took a 32-mile dirt road to evade everyone on low gas. I filled up on a gas station secluded in the next town over, so he pretty much made it out.
Yeah.
Then got busted because my bumper flew off and they got all my info off my license plate.
Dang.
Could you imagine making it all the way out just for that to happen?
I wonder what happened to
I don't know. He never included that information, but man, that was awesome. Yeah, I really wanted to hit that story. That story is great.
That's a good one.
So this man actually has a certificate for the fastest GTO, or fastest high-speed hit in a GTO with 200 miles an hour. But this is his story. In 1989, I was driving a 77 Impala station wagon, hopped up 350 cubic inch motor in it.
Wagon.
That's right. So it had 235s in the front, 31 by 10 and a halves in the back. Full hillbilly rake.
Yes, sir.
Or fun hillbilly rake. I topped a hill at night, saw parking lights, knowing it was CLO or LEO. I guess that's law enforcement. I don't know. I slammed the brakes. He pulled me over. I wrote me a ticket and said I have 2 confirmed readings on the radar. I clocked you at 142 and 86. Slow it down. I will talk to you. I will talk to your mom about it. Small town life where everybody knows everybody. That's the fastest I've ever got pulled over for. The fastest I've ever driven is 204, by the way. That's his the GTO certificate I was telling you guys about. I'm going to run these ducks off real quick.
Yeah. Whack, whack. All right. This man had just gotten his 300ZX twin turbo and was bringing a neighbor for a thrill ride. Ex-girlfriend was visiting with our duplex tenants. The current girlfriend, now wife, was not impressed and left my house 1 minute ahead of the neighbor and I. Our little town had a one-way stop sign for the side road before leaving via rolling farmland for a few houses. He was doing about 50 to 55 and looked down. Hold on, he says he's doing 50 to 55/30. I don't understand.
That means he's doing that speed in that speed.
Okay, yeah, I got you. And he looked down the side road as he passed. State trooper had been taking a right, but saw him swerve back in his direction. Shit, he had no papers or license. He gets up to around 135 to 140, and his neighbor tells him he is impressed and could slow down now. Told him we hadn't impressed the state trooper behind him. About this time, I came up on my girlfriend, who knows his driving stats, and had blown her doing about 100. She didn't know he was being chased. This next part come from the trooper's statement and hers. She sped up to 97 in an effort to get the trooper to get off of him and pull her over. It didn't work. Meanwhile, he's trying to formulate a game plan and realizes his passenger is going to snitch him out without question. He pulls over. Trooper had to back up 30 foot because he couldn't stop in time and saw him. Turns out the trooper was a neighbor who had been cutting him slack since pulling over the first time when he was 12. Anyhow, sees it's him, goes back to cruiser and says he lost me on dirt roads, comes up to his driver's window, starts to speak, and smashes his utility belt against his T-top. Turns out he saw his girlfriend coming at him, trying to hit him. Like, that's a better situation for him. Anyways, the ex-girlfriend heard the pursuit on scanner, drove in their direction until she... Hold up, gotta find where I was at. Till she came upon the scene. Trooper says he can't drive without a license and passenger can't drive manual. That left his ex to drive his car. No tickets issued to anyone. We are still together because I'm afraid to leave her. Good story.
Yeah.
Lucky you knew that dude. I couldn't imagine getting a trooper to get you any slack there, you know.
We've all been there too. You get a new car, you're like, yeah, I'm going to show the buddies this.
Yeah.
Got to take them for a joyride.
Gotta show the buddies. I understand that completely. Took my grandpa for a spin in mine. Couple of inches on the snow on the road, and it was still snowing slightly. Stuck behind a Corolla doing 30 and a 50. There's one straight on the road where you can pass. He sees there's no traffic, downshifts and goes. Due to the straightaway, the controller starts picking up speed, but I'm going for it. As I'm pulling back in my lane, I see a sheriff in a Crown Vic on the right side. The car I passed blocked him from immediately pulling out, coupled with his car being rear-wheel drive. He was able to elude, but decided to pull over and wait a full minute for him. He didn't even know what to say. He asked me to explain myself. I passed a slower car for doing 35 and a 50. Yeah. He informed me that he was going 54 and myself 83 coming down the hill at him. Actually let me go with a verbal warning after complimenting my car's capabilities. Turbo Quattro A4 with studded snow tires. That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's dope. I like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He was actually going 83.
I'd be that cop too. I'd be like, man, that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't be out here ripping in anything but that.
Man, if you were in the snow, you could have ran all you wanted.
Oh, yeah.
So
he would have got left.
This guy's first time I eluded was in a highly modified 88 Fox body when he was 18. He's with a girl showing off when a buddy went speeding by, being chased by 3 guys in an identical Dodge Daytona to his buddies. I wonder if it's a newer or old one. Yeah, probably a newer one.
Probably.
He thought they were racing, so he decided to bully them a little. Passed chase car and saw a driver was looking pissed. Pulled past Buddy and he is looking scared. Pull over to the road and they go by again. Headed to his buddy's road that he lives on. Catch up behind them in time to see a trooper turning around in the driveway 4 houses past his buddy's girls. Oh wait, my buddy's girl says just go. Trooper has spotted their speeding asses both in front of him. Buddy skids into the driveway and pops out with a bat. Other car and I kept driving as Trooper pulled into a buddy's yard. Car that was chasing my buddy took a left onto a dirt road and I stayed on the original road. I get to the end of the road, stop at sign, and proceed. Decided to pull into a driveway to turn around. That's when I spotted the trooper coming for him. Girl has one line, just go. Start point was at the bottom of a half-mile hill, and the trooper was rolling start 3/4 of a mile later. Witness told me I could have pulled into his backyard and lit a cigarette. Turns out it was a VSP trooper. Patrick Rhoda's first pursuit as a rookie. Turns out that's an ego buster when a cop is eluded, much less their first pursuit, and he called my hard top in as a convertible.
Okay.
All right, here's one more by him. I was supposed to meet my girl after work to eat out. He was in a Honda CBR 929RR Rocket. Damn, he's in a fucking crotch rocket. His girl got hung up at work, and he got caught in a quick thunderstorm as he was riding around waiting for her. He was soaked and decided to head home. Sunday came blasting out, and I got itchy and cranky. He's on interstate traffic, slows to a 25 to 30 in a 50-mile-per-hour construction zone. Pissed him off, so as it was opening up from 2 lanes, he decided to rip it, and he commits half remembrance. There's a deputy behind him in traffic who saw him. Hadn't been watching my speed, but definitely rung out third. Decided to pull over, and I didn't want to catch standing water and lose his bike and get tickets.
Yeah.
He asked how fast he was going. He rode him for an 89 and a 65. He says he's 1 mile away from jail. Grossly negligent operation, so pretty much reckless driving.
Yeah.
Having been cited for that when he was doing 129 in his 65, I knew it was 30 miles per hour more, so I corrected him. Got my speeding ticket and a written warning for plate being loosely zip-tied on. All good except no motorcycle endorsement, which deputy missed. He paces me 64 to 65 until exit where he gets off. Take a right, and my next turn is 1,000 foot up on the left. Rolled it and hooked it turn into a 40 mile per hour zone. It's less than a mile before it goes to 50 miles per hour. He was doing 52 and a 40 when he thinks he sees a deputy behind. As he takes a second look, he inevitably rolled the throttle and managed to hit 61 and a 50. Deputy lights him up again and he gets pulled over. This time it went a bit different. Deputy explains because he is from the neighboring county, he had to call in a current county supervisor. This lieutenant is the exact opposite of deputy. Comes on the scene so hard he triggers ABS on pavement before skidding to a stop on the shoulder. Jumps out yelling, "How stupid can you be? You better pass the bike on eBay. You're going to jail." He done fucked up. They threaten him with criminal charges for committing blatant disregard for the first stop 5 minutes prior. Tell him if he don't contest the speeding tickets, they will withhold the criminal charges. Then they proceed to let me ride away with no endorsement / license. Wow. Was with a group of friends when I was a lot younger, bouncing an old Discovery in and out of dips in a field when headlights started doing the same in the distance. Turns out it was police in a Ford Ranger chasing them, and they had no license or insurance. He was about 16. Rammed it in reverse, flying past him and bounced it off the back of the Ranger. Ended up ditching it 2 miles after losing him due to the rear end of this Ranger bouncing all over. Ran in separate directions. Luckily, we did not. 5 minutes later, rear end of this Ranger bouncing all over. Ran in separate directions. Luckily, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, they ran in separate directions. Okay. 5 minutes later, police chopper was out scouting. He was not driving and had no information on the driver. Oh, I guess you didn't get the rest of that one, but
Oh, did I not?
nah.
Dang.
But I'm guessing he evaded the chopper.
Yeah.
Here's another one about that guy, the other guy. Let a friend drive his modded Fox body, probably the 88. They hit the drive-thru, get their food, and he's out doing about 65 to 70 when he passes an oncoming trooper. Detector didn't go off, so they got lucky until the rear passenger informed us the trooper was coming. But he looks over and asks us if he can run. Best I had was done, don't kill us. Took a side road at, 321 miles per hour, and we were half a mile down the road when we saw a trooper skid to a stop after missing the turn, and we were gone. I mean, if it was a quarter-mile car, it could probably do 320 if it was, like, built.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's a typo, though.
Yeah, maybe. I could see 200 all day.
Yeah, I could see 200. I could see like 250 if it was a built car.
Yeah.
This dude had a 87 Suburban, got pulled over 2 nights ago, and was given a speeding ticket for doing 89 and a 55. He said, first off, this old bitch can't do 89, let alone 65. Understandable, that's Suburban.
Oh, that's awesome.
There were several cars behind him, and no one was charging up fast in the passing lane, and he was coming on my bumper, and he slowed down dramatically. Next thing I know, a cop comes out the side road and proceeds to pull him over. He says he's taking the ticket to court and explaining everything to the judge. Hopefully he'll understand the mess up and drop the ticket. Otherwise, he's looking at possibly losing his license.
Yeah.
Sorry for that, man.
For real. That's a bummer.
Here's another one. Got pulled over for 65 and a 45. Cop was a real dick about it. Trying to ticket me for anything else as well.
Wow.
Had to go to court. Got on a list to see the prosecutor. He gets called into the office, and they want to hear his excuse. He tells them he is guilty and ready to pay the fine. They say to meet him at the cashier. He waits. When he gets to the window, he asks them how much he owes. The cashier holds up the paperwork to show he dismissed the charge. Cool, Judge. I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way my story kind of ended. Whenever I went to court, the cop was just like, hey, man, just don't do it again. And,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't do it again, you know? Like, yeah, a lot of the times the judges can tell whenever cops are being, like, extra
Oh, yeah,
like,
for sure.
mad, you know?
That story I told earlier, the judge was like, yeah, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
2017 Thanksgiving Day, he gets caught doing 120 in a 60 miles per hour construction zone by a motorcycle Arizona Highway Patrol.
Huh.
He asked him why the fuck he is speeding so damn much, and I said, well, even if I tell you won't believe me. He asked him, no, seriously, why? And he said, I'm running from my ex-wife's mother who has been harassing me in her Chevy 3500 diesel truck. After he say this, the truck drives by and she honks and flips him off. He radios back up to pull her over and ask me what her name was, and I tell him. They pull her over and verified who she was. He gave me a 10-over ticket and gave her a reckless driving ticket.
Wow.
Good for you,
That's
buddy.
what honesty will get you.
Yeah.
Your story
when
might be
people
dumb,
harass
but
you like that, man, I hate that.
just tell the truth, man. Even if your story's
Speaking
dumb.
about people harassing, I'm not really, when I drive my car, people all the time drive stupid around me.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because I'm in my car.
Yeah.
Well, I was driving by that car wash right by where Goodman was.
Okay.
This truck, I pulled out of Zaxby's. I got Zaxby's yesterday. This car pulls out right in front of Zaxby's. This truck, like Matt's,
Yeah.
pulls out on it, bro, trying to catch me. And I look at my rearview and I see this undercover cop right behind him, bro. It pulls him over right behind me. He pulls over that car wash over there. I bet he got a ticket for reckless.
Dang, dude.
I was like, thank you, sir. I hate when people drive like that around me.
I swear.
Like, I'm not trying to race. It's my daily,
Yeah. I got so lucky. Yesterday, I was leaving work. Fridays just hit different on the gas pedal.
Yeah,
I
understand that.
I got on Russellville Road, and there's a good stretch where it's 55, and then it goes down to a 35 because you get in town.
Yeah.
I was second gear's just been hitting different for me here lately, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do 1-2 pull right here, and second gear just smacked the crap out of past the limiter, where it gets tuned at. And then as soon as I'm like, all right, I'm in third gear, I'm just going to roll. And then I looked over, I'm like, oh, that's a cop. I was fully prepared. I'm like, I'm getting pulled over. I'm just going to tell him it's Friday and I'm chilling. But he didn't care. Which, I technically wasn't speeding. I mean, my car, I think I hit maybe 65. I technically was speeding, but not doing nothing crazy. But 65 is what I saw.
Just having a little fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes cops are cool about that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not speeding.
Right,
It's hard to really say that's reckless driving.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't spin tires.
Oh, absolutely.
This dude was doing 147 and a 70 while he was 16. Cop almost let me go because he was about to cross the state line. He got off the interstate to turn around at the same exit he got off on before entering Tennessee. I wonder if he's from Kentucky.
Could be.
Wrote the ticket for 95 and a 70 because we passed literally no other cars while he's trying to catch up, and it shouldn't count as reckless driving. I mean, I ain't going to say that shouldn't count as reckless driving, eh?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Reckless driving is, what, 25 over?
Yeah, that or any kind of swerving
Spinning
and doing
tires.
stuff like that, yeah.
I wonder if they can get one for acceleration. If you got a car that really
I don't
runs
know.
good red light to red light, but you
Yeah.
don't speed.
A Tesla or something.
Yeah, Tesla.
Put that thing in launch mode, or that plaid, put it in plaid mode.
Alright, here's a pretty good one. His grandpa brought him a brand new S63 AMG Black Edition.
Dang.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Last of the NA V8 ones. Okay, those are still 400. They're about as much as our cars
Yeah.
in factory. One night, he gets silly and lets him take the car out. He went to the bar where his buddy was closing at and had dinner and a couple of drinks with their friends. Then he's like, let's see what this baddie can do leaving the parking lot. So they do 80 through a roundabout to a deserted country road and punch it, go to about 150, burning limiter up. They slow down, stop, turn around, and as he's backing into the road, this sheriff pulls up and rolls his window and says, I didn't have the gun, but I'm pretty sure you were already doing... Oh, he said, I didn't have the gun out, but I'm pretty sure you were already doing 80 when you left the parking lot. Slow down, bud. Yeah. If I catch you doing that again, I'm going to arrest you and impound this car forever. And then he rolled his window up and drove home.
Dang.
He said he went home and changed his pants immediately.
Yeah, for real. God.
I think you just said that one. Alright. I don't think you told me this one, actually. But
okay.
This dude got a speeding ticket for a cop having a super biased thought on Japanese cars.
Oh, yeah.
Living in UAW County. He believed I should drive an American car and gave him a ticket for speeding. My other favorite was, as a teenager, my buddy gave him a bunch of... Okay, as a teenager, his buddy gave a bunch of bikers the finger, and they rolled up on him at a stoplight, pulled him out the truck, kicked his ass, and the police pulled up only to laugh at him and tell him that he deserved it, as they saw he gave them the finger.
Oh my God.
I ain't gonna say you deserved it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you just randomly flip off some bikers, I mean, what do you expect? Some of them are kind of wild.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Bikers are cool, man.
Like, yeah.
I like bikes. Alright, this one guy got pulled over because his exhaust was too loud.
Couldn't imagine.
It went from 1 cop to 5 more cops, so 6 cops. They split him and his friend and were questioning them. All 6 cops searched the car, 1993 Dodge Shadow. They didn't find anything and let them go. They got back in the car, and he's pissed that had happened. He started laughing, and he asked, what the hell is so funny? I'm pissed. He tells them they searched my car, and none of them noticed it's 6 months out of inspection, lol.
Wow.
They just want them drugs, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
More on drugs.
I'll read the last few. I can't imagine there's many more than that.
I don't know. That could have been the last one there.
Oh,
She got another page or two.
No, I got one. My very first ticket. When I was 17, my very first ticket when I was 17, made fun of having a convertible. I got made fun of for having a convertible Geo Metro.
It's a Geo Metro. I mean, you can't make fun of anything else. It's already a Geo.
He got made fun by all the rich kids.
Fuck them.
At the local hangout. Bought the car with my own money for $500.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So I threw it in reverse and revved the engine, popped the clutch,
Yes,
did a
sir.
reverse burnout, or did a reverse donut, then tried to skip school the next day, left early, tried to pay off the ticket without my parents knowing about it, only to find out that you had to have your parents sign if you're a minor.
No.
Then they had to, and they also had to be there when you paid. That's messed up, man. Dang.
Homie was a man. He's just going to pay it all himself.
Yeah, parents didn't need to know.
They don't know, don't hurt them.
Yeah. Once I speeded in a stupid place, there was a radar gun on one side. A lady jumped out to signal for me to pull over. She was a bit slow. I already passed her in a roundabout 200 meters in front. My first thought was slow down and get to the roundabout and turn back. I think they were expecting me to do so as well, and then I realized that she had wrote down my plate. So on the roundabout, I just drove in the other direction and never heard from her back again. Okay, it's a little wholesome story, I guess. Pretty long one here. When I was 17, I flew past a state trooper in an old Impreza, around 110. Thought I was out of 110. That was out of his vehicle dealing with some. He
passed the cop.
Yeah. dealing with someone at a trailer park. I watched him sprint back to his car, turn on his lights in my rear view. By that time, his lights were turned on, and I was a good mile away already. So I whipped it on a back road up a small dirt trail into a farmer's field behind the tree line. Shut off my lights, sat there for an hour or so while I watched 3 more cops drive by, completely oblivious that I was on the other side of the tree line, not 20 miles away, until I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning with the farmer knocking on my window. Thought it was the cop, so it scared the crap out of me. And I told him why I was there, and we both laughed a good bit about it. Then he offered me a cup of coffee before I wait for this one to pass. Hopefully I'm getting picked up on the mic. Feels good though.
It does.
Good laugh about it. Had a cup of coffee about it. Finally, I took off home. I should add that right after I got out of work, I was on my way home around midnight, so it was pitch black outside. Also, my father was pretty impressed when I told him when I got home, so I added icing on the cake. He called me stupid and a few other select words, but I was still impressed nonetheless. That is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Farmer like, hey man, why don't you come in and get a cup of coffee? That's crazy. For all you know, he could have been a freaking
That reminds
fugitive.
me of the neighbor at work.
Yeah. He'd be like, there's a local speed shop here too.
I'd love to have him talk about some of his stories.
Oh, God.
It cracks me up.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of good stories.
He used to have some pretty cool cars.
Oh, I already read that one. Short one. One comment said it was, this comment's been deleted by Mark Zuckerberg. I was like, what?
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody's comment says this comment was deleted by Mark Zuckerberg.
There's no way. He's not in that group.
I know, but it's probably just like a thing that it says whenever they delete comments.
Huh.
It's weird that it said Mark Zuckerberg.
I've never seen that before.
He's an anti-car guy.
I guess so.
Shorter story. 75 and a 35. Cop didn't even run my plates. He just came up with a brisk walk to the driver's window, asked me why I was driving so fast for. I told him I was trying to catch my girlfriend cheating. He slapped the top of the car and said, "Good enough, get out of here." Didn't check my ID, didn't check anything. I was just trying to catch my girlfriend cheating.
That sounds like a Gunner story.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Cop was like, hey, get out of here, man. Go get him.
Go get him. I might need you for backup later.
Yeah. This is a female driver. I don't have a very exciting story. I thought I'd tell it anyways. I got oddly harassed for a while after my dad got arrested for growing weed. I guess my plate came back from his address. Must have had comments along with it, because I would get pulled over all the time and would get told, "You're pretty far from home." Then they would ask about if there was drugs in my car, and say some dumb stuff about that. Literally, at least once, a cop would pull me over and ask me some dumb questions. I was in my Goodyear uniform, and they wanted to know if I worked there and if I was headed to work. One dude asked me what was underneath the lampshade in my passenger floorboard. I knew it sounded like a crazy question, or I know it sounds crazy, but there was a lamp under the lampshade.
Huh.
I told one guy that I was leaving the tattoo shop when he asked where I was coming from. He asked if I was going to be. He asked if I was what I was doing there, because I'm guessing my arm being covered by saran wrap wasn't hint enough that I was getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
One guy said something about my aftermarket exhaust was pretty loud after pulling me over at a red light. It was completely stock VW Cabriolet. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. Every cop asked if I ever had drugs in the car, so she was just getting profiled, I'm sure.
Awful, man.
That's terrible. Especially a woman, too. Like, that's
Cops,
messed
when
up.
it comes to drugs, man, they're too far. Like,
Yeah.
if it's weed, man, I think it's not as big a deal. Like, if it's meth or heroin
Yeah.
or something, I get that. The little weed, I mean, I wouldn't say smoke and drive, but
Right.
if you got weed in the car, it's not that big of a deal, really.
That's even crazy. I heard for the prescription people, they have to have it in the trunk if they're transporting
Really?
it. Yeah,
I
that's what
figured
I
if they had
heard.
a card, they can do whatever.
No, well, that might be
You don't
true.
even have to have a gun in the trunk. You can
Yeah.
just have it in the...
What I heard recently is if you have a prescription, if you have a card at least, if you're transporting, it has to be in your trunk.
Wow.
That's
What
wild.
if you don't got a trunk? What
I
if
guess
it's
you're
gutted?
screwed. All right, we had to move some stuff around if there's a weird cut here. Every cop asked if I had drugs in the car. Okay. That happening went on for a few months. No one believed me until my ex borrowed my car and got pulled over for being too far from home. Cop asked if he was pulled over yesterday. Cop asked if he had him over yesterday. He pulled him over yesterday. Okay. If I knew what I did now, I would have recorded the incident and gotten a lawyer involved, but I was too young and didn't want to get a ticket, so something stupid. They would give me a ticket for something stupid like cracked in the windshield. I wish she would have reported it. They probably could have got harassment charges for sure.
She could have got some money or something. I mean, she kind of deserves some.
Yeah. This is he's got a picture of the car. It's pretty dope. I don't think I sent it to the computer, but it's he says this one time we were probably 100 plus cars deep in a spot doing some street racing. Yeah, that's what I thought. 100 cars deep street racing. I lined up next to an older AMG, waiting for the other cars at the end of the road to turn off their lights. I guess that let them know they were done with their race. We kept flashing our high beams at them to tell them. Mind you, this was when they got. This is when the cop cars started getting equipped with turbos. Okay, now that was a thing, I guess. We were just shooting, just doing whatever. Not paying attention when we heard a cop speed up towards us. Heard a little whistle, didn't think nothing about it, and next thing we know, there was a cop blocking us in at the line. I'm in a 09 VW Rabbit with that's auto with my ex-girlfriend. She starts running towards me. The car gets in the car, and I'm ripping it with the e-brake on, stomping the gas to skid sideways to get around this woman cop who's just getting out of her car. I sped past the whole line, everybody waiting at the light to leave. I ended up hopping in the median and driving 3 miles with a busted radiator home. My buddy ended up getting caught and car impounded. I just got away by the bumper of my car. Well, I just got away with a bumper and a broken radiator. It's pretty good.
That's cool. I like the rabbits too. Those
Yeah.
are cool.
He sent a picture. It's they come factory with turbo, or has he got one? Because he's got one on his car.
I don't know like a whole lot about them, but I think they're cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's such a compact car, dude. I'm sure those things get not even needing power either. A couple years ago, I still had a Nissan Altima. I was racing my buddies with a tuned Civic. Can't imagine how fast that was. Cop pulled out of the parking lot where I couldn't see him, clocked us both, but pulled me over first, FYI. Where I live, racing is a 30-day impound and about $2,000 in fines. Jeez. That must be a pretty big issue where this dude's located. He asked why I was racing. I said Honda Civic, what I was racing. I said Honda Civic. He laughed and gave me a similar speeding ticket because he didn't know what my speed was. He didn't know I didn't know who he clocked first, but I definitely got a lot fast. I was definitely going a lot faster, but he didn't need to know that. That's pretty good. Okay, here's that 2000 story. Probably Texas. I know Nashville got pretty bad. I remember back whenever we were in high school, whenever people were really getting hold of GTRs, they were impounding cars like crazy. I remember one of the screenshots I saw was them impounding an R35. Rip. Couldn't imagine. Jesus, super long story. Oh no, it's just a few that he's got. He's got a few stories. I'll let you read these stories because this is something you can talk about.
All involving pot. He lived in Washington State. Quite a few years back, he went on a trip to Nebraska, so he had left his car at his dad's house for the week. He had a 2000 Chevy Avo. He said it was a great car. Yeah, I don't mind them.
Yeah.
Anyways, his dad's house was 2 hours north of his. and a couple counties away. Hold on. So, it's probably about 8 p.m. or so, and he's like 15 minutes from home, and like a dumb shit, he smoked bud in his car. So he just got done smoking, put his pipe and lighter down in the cubby hole he had. As soon as he put the pipe away, he gets pulled over. Guy comes over and says, "I pulled you over because you have a headlight out, yada, yada, yada." But then he thinks he's so ever clever to mention marijuana at all. He didn't mention marijuana at all, but has the audacity to ask him if he's been drinking tonight. And he's like, "Are you effing serious?" I don't know what he was thinking. Instead of just like addressing the smell of pot, maybe he was trying not to record it on his body cam and hooking a dude up. But he didn't know what to do, and he was pretty young still. So I told him no, but I did smoke a little pot several hours earlier in the day at his dad's house. So he goes back to the car, waits for a second. Starter?
Maybe a state, like a state trooper.
Yeah,
like a
stator. Okay, yeah. And then they pull him out and do a field sobriety test, which I don't know if everyone's done them at night, blind as hell, like him. But they made him take off his glasses, and he has a Class C restriction, so he has to drive with glasses.
Yeah.
Looks directly at the sirens, and he can't see shit. And even asked like, "Hey, I can't see without my glasses, and those lights are blinding me so hard. Can I put my glasses back on, or at least turn around so I can actually see?" They said no, just do the best you can. Pretty sure he failed the test, but they let him go with a warning and not to smoke and drive, and also to get a new headlight. That's hilarious. I like how they shine all those lights in your eyes. Like, I already got like sensitive eyes. I can't see. I hate when they pull up with the light in your eye.
Yeah.
Man, that aggravates me so much.
Like, I have a right to see what you look like. Like, you get to see me. Just because you're a cop don't mean you get to blind me and being, like, I don't know.
How about I shine one at you? I want to see what you look like.
Could you imagine what they do if you already had your light out ready?
Yeah. How do you like it?
Yeah.
All right. So when he was in high school, he had this pretty badass 92 S10.
All right.
Missed the hell out of it. Yeah, I like square
Just
body
like
S10.
you.
Not a square body.
Oh, well, S10 though.
Yeah. So there was this unfinished housing development that had been in a little town for a few years where they left a huge dirt pit up this hill. There were two ways to get to it. One was through the part of the housing development that was actually finished, and the other was this long-ass, narrow gravel road that they could only fit one car at a time. It was more like a wheeling trail. We used to call it mansion spot since there's a huge mansion in the area, and we'd always go out there and smoke and drink and shit, just kid shit. Mm-hmm. So me and my buddy are sitting at the table at the sitting in the middle of this gravel road, roasting a bowl, hotboxing it pretty heavy, when in the corner of his eyes, he sees a bumper with a black push bar going around the corner.
No.
His buddy yells out, "Oh, fuck, it's a bitch cop." They had a female cop in town who was the worst and always harassed them because they had nothing better to do in their small town. They called her bitch cop, obviously.
Yeah.
I shit you not, fight or flight kicked in. I had my keys out of the ignition for I don't even know why. But I got them in as fast as I could and started up my truck and popped the clutch. Did the gnarliest burnout for a good 15 seconds, just kicking up a massive cloud of dust and rocks. So hopefully they couldn't see the license plate. He peeled the hell out of there. Forgot at the bottom of the gravel where I turned in the dirt pit there was a massive pothole. Hit it going 30. His buddy and him in the car, hold up, where was that? Literally saw nothing but the sky and Jesus. They got so much air when he landed his truck died. It started back up, so he managed to start her up, kick a ton of more dust and pop smoke out of there. To this day, he wonders if she knew it was them or not, and if it was able to evade her without her knowing. Last one here. When he was 18 or 19, working in a small town by Mount Rainier. Isn't that kind of low? Nah. That's in Pennsylvania. Never mind, okay. So he used to work in this... No, never mind. It might be around here. He used to work at this little mom and pop restaurant that got really busy called Copper Creek. He was a waiter at the time and just cashed out his last table and was ready to go on break for a few minutes. He realized he needed a few things from the store in town because the restaurant was a few minutes outside town. So he hopped in his car, took a hit off the old pop, and hauled ass to town going about 100 miles per hour. When he got into town, he slowed down, but then noticed the SUV parked opposite side of the road. pointing the wrong way. Kind of in the shadows, so he couldn't really tell, but he thought it might be a cop. He wasn't speeding, but maybe he heard me in his 94 Celica GT. This is like our high school group, bro.
I was
He's got
about to
all the
say.
cars our group had.
This guy's an old school pothead,
Yeah.
dude.
He used to ride me like all my friends because we had the S10, the Celica.
Yep.
All right, but anyways, he was leaving the store heading out of town. When he gets out of town, he smashed it going 100 again. When he pulls up to the restaurant, guess who shows up behind him with lights on and shit talking about I'm lucky because he couldn't arrest me for evasion because he felt as if I was not running from him. I was like, no, dude, I didn't even see you. I was in a hurry to get out of there. He talked about how much weed you have and blah, blah, blah. I told him only like an ounce, but I have my green card. Dang, so I guess he's somewhere legal.
Yeah.
He's 18 or 19. Must be in California.
Could be.
He said that didn't matter because it has to be in the trunk. So needless to say, he gave him a ticket for having the weed in the cab of the car and going 50 over, which he was actually able to fight. He got the weed ticket dropped, and actually they reduced the speeding ticket.
Maybe that's
He
where
said
I
good
heard it at.
times. He doesn't smoke and drive anymore, just so everyone knows. He's learned his lesson and matured a lot in the past 10 years. So 10 years ago, and it was
Yeah.
somewhere we was like, well, yeah, I'll be like California.
Yeah, that must have been where I got that from. That you had to have it in the trunk. Is
Yeah.
from his story.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
This dude has a,
Did I
that's
have
a
pic-
speed certificate one. You already
Oh,
said that.
okay, yeah.
Man, this one guy has a lot of stories.
What? Oh, never mind. Don't say.
Yeah. Was stationed in CT when he was processing out, had 3 weeks left. He's in the military.
Mhm.
Get together with 3 other sailors, and they rented the Geo Tracker. Did you say this one, Geo Tracker? Maybe it's just another one.
Yeah.
To travel to RI for a beach party / rave. One of the guys had talked to him into taking the last paycheck and buying a quarter-pound of weed until we got civvy jobs. He had packed in the spare tire behind the cover. That wasn't for the party, though.
Mm-hmm.
He bought a half ounce of magic mushrooms and a quarter ounce of weed for that. They ate the shrooms just off base and smoked the Phillies blunt as they left base. All is well until dude has to admit he doesn't know where the party is, and they're pretty much peeking on shrooms at that point. So they're coming into a tiny 8 to 10 square block beach town, and the only vehicle they saw had a headlight out. As we pass it, it's a cop, and he is pulling out to follow. Take 3 random turns, and he is still following. We are going to get lit up. Guys in the back are freaking out. They don't even know about the felonious amounts of weeds we have, and no license, and an active warrant for failure to appear at court. God, this dude is
Jeez.
out there. He stopped. He said, I initiated the stop. Stopped right in the lane. Cop hits lights and pulls up beside me. Said to cop we were trying to get back to the sub base, and CT worked. Perfect, except he rattled off directions which weren't in my language. Cop says, never mind, I'll lead you to the edge of town. Cop is doing 50 and a 50 and following at 35. The guys in the back thought they were in a Jeep and it was going to roll. I have to keep up, though. Poor guys. As we get to the edge of town, all of a sudden the cop hits the lights, blocks the roads in front of us, indicates to pull into the fire department lot. Guts just dropped. He must have put 2 and 2 together. No clue. Turns out that his brother-in-law was an officer on their base and was wondering if we knew him. Nope. We were enlisted and had very little contact outside of immediate command. The worst was when he asked what type subs we were on. Best I could say was nuclear. For the life of me, could not recall the correct term until the COP asked ballistic or fast attack. Yeah, that's the one, officer. Cop probably missed out on the biggest bust of his career.
Dang.
This dude's got so many good stories. This dude's lived a full life.
There's one good military story in there. If it ain't in there, I've got to tell it 'cause it's a good one.
Okay, I done read that one. Had a 94 Eagle Talon non-turbo, slow as shit. Cool though.
Okay, yeah, Eagle Talon.
Left a stoplight in a smaller town, was shifting into third, not in a hurry whatsoever, and not paying attention. In his zone-out state, he somehow managed to go back into first. Oof! When he let the clutch out, the tires screeched and engine almost went to outer space. Evidently, a cop saw him pulled him over. He explained to him what had happened, and it was God's honest truth that he didn't believe me. Said he was writing me a reckless OP ticket. Wow. Give him my license. Goes back to the cruiser. He wasn't in there maybe 10 seconds, and he came running back to me, throws the license at him, and told him it's his lucky day, and he had an emergency call to go to, and took out of there.
Wow. It's your lucky day, son.
It is. He didn't blow the engine when he money shifted either.
Yeah.
This dude was going 75 and a 35.
God.
The cop didn't even run my plate. Just came. Oh, you done read this one. That's the cheating girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Must have got some
All right, here's a good one. So this dude's daily driver is a C5 Corvette. He paid pennies for it, so it's his first fast car. He had owned it maybe 3 days and went down to the local car meet in town. On the way home, he decided to punch it as he turned down a side street at like 1 a.m. He was alone, so he figured, hey, if I'm going to be dumb, let's do it alone, not in traffic.
Yeah.
He's by himself, target top off, radio up, living the best life. Rips through first, second, and grab third, going close to 100 in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. He looked back behind him to see another car seemingly doing the same thing, but the headlight silhouette doesn't look like a cop. Popped. Light sirens, the whole nine. Lights go on, he freaks out. He's like, I'm going to jail. I need someone to pick up my car. Yep. He's near his mom's house, but she can't drive stick. All the hot thoughts are going through his head. Puts his hazards on and decides to pull into this church parking lot because he fully expects to end the night in handcuffs and the car to be towed away. So I might as well not block traffic for my own stupidity. Turns the car off, takes the keys out of the ignition, throws them in the passenger seat, tosses his hands up on the windshield frame so the cops can see him clearly as he comes. That's a good thing to do. A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah. Worst
nightmare. It's a state trooper, and he puts on the hat. Everybody knows if he puts on the hat, you're fucked. Hey, I've had good things when they've had the hat on.
Huh.
So the cop comes up, tips his hat, and skips the normal pleasantries. He goes, son, what would possess you to drive like that on these roads? He's like, well, I'm going to go to jail, so, sir, I just got the car. I know what I did was dumb, but I figured if you're going to be dumb and I know who I am, I might as well be dumb and do it by myself where there's no danger to the public. The cop sighs, asks for license and registration. Maybe I won't go to jail, but I know the ticket's going to hurt. He politely asks if he can reach in the glove box, give him all that. He asks him to relax because he's shaking. I get that. You nervous your first time. He asked if he'd been pulled over recently, and he said, sir, my other car is a Buick Century. I couldn't speed in that car if I wanted to. He goes, look, you did everything right. You pulled right over. You put me in a safe spot. You showed me your hands, and I could tell that you were way more scared of me than I am of you. So what I'm going to do for you, son, is you haven't been pulled over in the last year. I'm going to give you a warning, but if you have, I'm going to give you a ticket with no break. So he's in the clear. He hasn't had a ticket, he thinks. So he goes back to the car, looks at his information for what seemed like 3 hours. He comes back with a sheet of paper in his hand. I looked up, I'm scared as a puppy. He won't speak, so I asked the most important question. Am I free to go, officer? Well, son, I have a question for you. Okay, what happened last month in Palm Beach? His eyes grew to the size of dinner plates. He was terrified, but then he remembered he had a moment of clarity. He said there's a red light camera ticket. His sister was driving the Buick, and his expression changes. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to throw the Hail Mary. But officer, you asked if I had been pulled over in the last year. I don't know about you, but I've never been pulled over by a camera before. He said he stared at me with the intensity of 10,000 suns. He said, I thought for sure I was done.
That's awesome.
He choked and said, you know what? Have a nice night. That's a good one.
Never been pulled over by a camera. That's pretty good.
That's the best response you could have had there. That was a 10,000 IQ play.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Driving my shitty Mustang in the snow during a blizzard. Couldn't get the damn thing to move going straight, so I used the inertia of drifting sideways to go down a straight road as I'm moving slowly sideways. He's directly facing a cop at a parking lot. He did nothing but give a cool little wave and nod. Cool. I think that's last. Yeah, that's the last one. Hey, I've been there. I drove my car in that snowstorm, and it was sideways everywhere.
Yeah,
Had the
for
radials on and all.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to say one last thing before we switch segments. That big appreciation for you all that submitted your cop stories.
Yeah.
Because there was some guys and they're like, "Oh, he's a nice tri-fed boy," and like all that. Like, come on, man, I ain't trying to out nobody.
Feds, look at our profile.
That's what I said. Like, I even said, I'm like, dude, just like if you would do your research, you would notice that we incriminate ourselves regularly on this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to throw it to Jordan for a quick segment I want to call Tech Talk, where Jordan explains. Jordan being I guess, I mean, you pretty much are a master. I mean, you're not a master mechanic, but for your age,
I'm a master tech.
For your age, you're like pretty
I'm
sharp.
a seasoned mechanic, you could say.
But today, I wanted Jordan to explain to you the everything stall. You know, a stall converter.
So, really don't got to talk too much about stall converters, as they're pretty similar to basic torque converters. But what is a torque converter? If you don't know what a torque converter is, basically a torque converter is a fluid coupling. It takes inertia from the crankshaft with a turbine that is, I'm thinking, welded to the case. I'm not sure how it's fixated. It's probably welded. But what it does is this turbine spins with the movement of the crank, and that sends fluid to this other turbine. It's like a fan driving another fan, but with fluid. And what that does is that drives your transmission. So there's different ways torque converters work. They have stall converters, which go to different speeds. It takes more fluid, more RPM to get that converter to move the same as a normal one. So this converter is the old one. It's for a TH350. 400, same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's the same input spline and everything. But basic things you want to do when installing a torque converter: make sure you pre-fill it with fluid, and then while you do that, you can spin it around, shake it around. Make sure you get as much fluid in here as you can, because this goes directly to your trans pump. It goes directly there. You don't want to lose any fluid. And then also, when you put the torque converter in, depending on what transmission you have, this one, it'll be 3 engagement points. It'll go on the input shaft, then it'll go on the pump shaft, I think, and then the last click. I'm not sure actually what it drives, but you want to make sure you get all the points. And just because you think you hear them all, I'm telling you, be careful, because it's very easy to miss. I've actually broken a bell housing because I didn't miss one.
Jeez.
I had to learn the hard way. Yeah, if you try and bolt it in and it ain't matching up, you're going to crack a bell housing.
Yeah, see, it won't fit.
I've been there. I did it on a front-wheel drive car, so it's part of the transfer case.
Oh, my God.
Transaxle. I learned the hard way.
Back in the Ford days, huh?
Yeah. I learned a lot of things the hard way. I don't want other people to. Also, clutches have a stator. They have a clutch in newer transmissions. They lock up at a certain speed. That's really great for trans tuning. But if you're not doing trans tuning, the basics to know is install. The best way to put a stall in is attach it either directly to the transmission with the engine out. Make sure you get all engagement points in. Then put the engine in. Bolt to your bolts on the flywheel. Make sure you have the starter out so you can get to them. Or just put it in the trans with the trans out. You know, either way, you do it whichever way is the easiest. It's easier to take the trans out, take the trans out. It's easier to pull the engine than pull the engine.
So my question is, a lot of people ask this, and it might even be a misconception with these. With a stall, you know, especially with stall speeds you get, like 2,500, for example, or 30, we'll go 3,800.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I see a lot of people asking, does that mean my engine won't start giving my drivetrain power until 3,800 RPM? Yeah.
That's when you break torque.
Yeah.
So you could still daily drive a 5,000 stall if you wished. I mean, it would drive probably worse on the street. It would take a lot longer to lock up, especially on highways. You don't want a high stall if you're highway speeding a lot. But you can do it. It's not like it's undoable. It would just make tuning kind of a bitch for your tuner, and then you might see a little bit of drivability issues.
A lot of people, too, a lot of people have issues, say they have issues with daily driving with the stall, and a lot of people say it's not even like the drivability goes down so substantially from having a stall.
It's not a lot, really. And if it's a race car, then usually you go big stalls. So.
And I mean, if you're building a street car too, you know, you got to understand you're sacrificing a lot of drivability.
If you're stalling something, it's usually got a cam or you're shitting and getting on a track, so you kind of understand what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, don't go over like a 3,000 stall on your daily. You know, I'd just be like a quick rule of thumb.
Yeah.
You know. You could do more. Like, your car's going to have that 36 or 3800.
Yeah.
Or 34, whatever. It is.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah. One day we'll have it.
But this is a little bit longer of an episode. You know, it's our In Real Life series. You never know which way it's going to take. I was really unsure if we were going to have enough time to get through all those stories. It was really nice to get through those.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I guess this will probably be the outro. So we will see you on our regular show this Thursday or Friday. You won't want to miss it.
Yeah, let us know about the Tech Tuesday, or not Tech Tuesday, but Tech Tips, you know, if you like that. Definitely not an expert on stalls. I could tell you a little more about maybe cylinder heads or
it was the cleanest part we had laying around in my shop. So, you know, it's kind of just what you got, you know.
Tell you about distributors or valve train.
Yeah, and just tell us what you think overall about this series, you know, how we have it laid out. You know, Jordan, of course, sitting by his car, me, of course, sitting by my project car. You know, my other car's outside. So, let us know what you think. We're going to continue doing this all month long. We have a lot of exciting episodes, a lot of exciting guests. And with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Hey guys, what's going on? Just as a closing note, I wanted to let you guys know, obviously, this was shot in my shop / barn, more like barn turning into a shop. This is just some things that I didn't really note while we were shooting. It's just so chaotic, you know, brand new series, in person, all new. But after watching and editing, I just wanted to throw in this last little note. Like I said, obviously recorded in my barn. With that being said, of course there's background noise. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was going to be that significant. So you're not going crazy. You do hear ducks quacking, and at one point you'll see me step away to go chase them off. Also, there was a slight echo. It's a humongous shop / barn. So if you hear this echo, if that bothers you, just try your best to tune it out. You know, we're kind of working with the best we got. Give me some feedback on what you think. Obviously, I've pointed out the very obvious things that are issues. Also, I want you guys to have a great, happy, awesome 4th of July. Be safe. Don't be setting bottle rockets off just by holding them with your hand or Roman candles or nothing. Be safe, guys. And with that being said, also another small side note. We might not have our regular Cars and Health Bar show format. We have a huge guest scheduled for our typical shooting time. So probably what we will do is we had 2 interviews or 2 shoots last Saturday for our In Real Life podcast. So you guys, I guess, will get a bonus In Real Life podcast this week. You'll have, of course, the 4th of July, which you'll be watching today. Also having the interview on Friday that we shot also on Saturday. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm probably going to go ahead and start pulling clips from it and putting it onto our social media. So if you would check that out. And also, I guess that's all I got. So you guys have a happy and safe 4th of July.